Yeah, so I wanted to use this opportunity really just to talk about the 111 online programme and give a bit of insight into who we are, how we work, what the service is and where we're up to, and kind of a bit about what's important to us, which I think should probably link into the majority of the conversations today, so hopefully it will blend in quite nicely. So I think you probably all know about 111 Online, we've been around a couple of years now. It's a responsive website that provides access to a symptom checker, so we use NHS Pathways clinical content, and we also link into the NHS directory of services to link people into the local services that they need at the end of the triage. It was rolled out across England using an embedded implementation support team that's been part of the team for the whole time. And those experts worked with quite a lot of you in the room actually, so CCG commissioners, DOS leads and 111 providers. So we're now available across every single CCG in England. So back in March we won the Health Innovation Digital Impact Award, so that's almost up there. After a couple of glasses of Prosecco to celebrate. The service was recognised for its ability to scale up and to reach so many different people, leveraging on the NHS and being able to get people to the right care in their NHS environment in their local area. It's a great accolade and it's a really great piece of recognition for the team and the hard work that they've put in. But it's also kind of given us a lot of opportunities to work with other products and services across other industry sectors across the coming year. So it's been a great opportunity for the team. Sorry, just trying to move my notes pages down, so just bear with me. I'm also a Mac user, so this is not... we're also part of the NHS England and Public Health England's Help Us Help You campaign back in February. It was an awareness campaign and it actually saw our digital uptake peak at 10.5%, so it did definitely have an impact. So just move on to the next slide. So this is where we're up to now. If you've been kind of part of our journey, then you'll probably recognise that the map on the right has changed quite significantly over the past 2 years. And we've now got 100% national coverage, as I've said, and we've still got some pockets of phase 2, so we kind of need to get the out-of-hours areas, out-of-hours services in those areas connected. And big news for us is this weekend we hit 1 million completed journeys, so that's quite a phenomenal. It's really quite amazing actually. 1 million different triages taking people to different parts of the NHS that they wouldn't have had before. So absolutely phenomenal. Our median journey is 121 seconds, so just over 2 minutes. So I know loads of you in the room know the telephony service like the back of your hand, so you'll know that there's some comparables there and some definite benefits to be had. Okay, that hasn't worked. So the big yellow section here is where our users come from, and that is Google. So the vast majority of people search for either 111 or 111 online and then click through to get to our service. And the green over there is nhs.uk, so our own NHS website, and we have a 111 page on there which the bulk of our users click through from. But we also appear on 19 different symptom pages as well within the website, so we also get a little bit of activity coming through from them. And we're continuing, our content designers are continuing to work with the NHS.uk content designers to kind of collaborate and feature on more and more of those symptom pages. 80% of our users come through from mobile devices. Obviously that's quite interesting. I guess it's a sign of the times, it's probably pretty unsurprising. The remaining are sort of desktop and tablet. Okay, so that's a little bit about the service, but who are we? I think I'm really humbled and quite delighted to be here representing the team. They're an amazing group of people. They're a multidisciplinary team, so kind of talking back to what the panel were talking about earlier, we definitely represent that. So to try and kind of list who we've got, and a lot of them are actually in the room, we've got software developers, we've got clinical specialists, we've got user researchers, and we've got technical specialists, DOS experts, comms support, and we've got our own implementation team and content designers, and we all work hand in hand. We work to agile principles, which means we try to keep team communication to an absolute maximum, and we aim to continually challenge the way the service is developing, and it works really well for us. We meet every 2 weeks, and we look back on the work we've done over the previous 2 weeks, retrospectively assessing and criticising what we've done and how things could work better, and then we plan in the same day the work we're going to do for the following 2 weeks. So I know that that's quite unusual to some of you, it certainly was to me before I joined the team, but I can't applaud how well it works enough. I'm not an agile specialist, we have people in the team that are, but to me it is, as the panel said, once you've worked in a multidisciplinary team that really respects each other's specialisms, and we're not all good at everything, we can't be, but respecting and having a common goal really works for all of us. So we trust these principles, and we need to be able to work. They've worked for us for the past 2 years, so we continue to use them and develop and work with them. So talked a little bit about feedback. So to us, we want to hear about how our service is performing, what people think about it. So how do we get that? So we do a lot of user research, so every time we kind of come up with a new idea, we're developing something on our product roadmap, we have a new prototype, we put that out to generally lab-based user research, and we recruit members of the public to take part in that, and we focus on specific groups as well, so that we can make sure that we're kind of getting our accessibility correct. So we think we've got a really open approach to hearing back about our service. We have on the bottom here is about on each of our pages on our website we have a feedback button. So I think it's just human nature that people aren't necessarily going to click on that and tell us how brilliant everything is. So we hear a lot on that. And we don't just hear about our service, we hear a lot about the NHS in general as well. We had some great feedback recently about how listening to KISS FM in an urgent treatment centre waiting room wasn't entirely appropriate. So we definitely hear a lot of different stuff on there. And we also have a survey at the end of the triage, which we invite people to take part in, so they can tell us back about what their experience was on the service, and we look over that and we use that within our user research, and we use that on how we develop the service. Obviously if we get common themes then we action them. But it's not just about the users that are out there using our service, it's also about you guys. So we feel we have a really open approach to working with our stakeholders. In our public Slack space we have 320 of probably quite a lot of you that we talk to and we engage with, and we talk about product developments on there, and we also hear back about how things aren't working out in the urgent care system with 111 online, and then we can take action on them. And we have a quarterly user forum, so our next one is actually next week, so everybody's invited. We tend to go through specific issues, look at different things that we've got coming up on the roadmap, and get feedback on how they're going to work. So, don't think I've said feedback enough really, but that's kind of how we work. So this is something that was shared with me recently. I think on the left is kind of your typical way in which you take some content and a service specification through to a live service. And obviously that works in some respects, but I think in reality we just need to recognise that what really happens is the one on the right. So it's a continual spiral, we're continually learning. In reality, especially in the health sector, things are changing. We all know that. I've worked in the health service for about 15 years, and things are constantly emerging, constantly changing. A specification that was right one day, the environment in which it exists in changes, so we need to work with this kind of progressive spiral where we're constantly listening to feedback and constantly developing the product in a way that meets the needs of the users out there and works with the urgent care system and the whole health economy. We know that the first prototype we test with users won't be right, that's just an absolute given. Just really quickly then taking through an example of this. So we've recently been looking at the emergency prescription pathway, so putting something that exists in telephony online. So 111 telephony, 111 online. So it's going to work, right? Well, not necessarily. There's, the difference with online is it's a one-way interaction. With telephone, you're talking back to the patient constantly. So we need to recognise that. And we put some ideas out to user research, and we were quite surprised by stuff that had come back. I know a number of you in the room have already been involved in this pathway and its development. But just out of interest, users don't go on to an online piece of functionality and search for emergency prescription. They might search for the condition itself, like asthma, or they might search for the device, like inhaler. So we don't always have the immediate solution for that, but we need to absolutely recognise that our pathway needs to work with these kind of implications in place. Another one is that a classic use case for emergency prescriptions is that people are away from home and they've left the medication at home, so they've left the packaging at home. And we don't expect that people will remember the name or be able to spell the medication that they're on. So our user journey needs to be able to work with those things in mind. And asking people about controlled drugs, well, that's just people don't know what they are. People actually think that controlled drugs are it's understandable, but just going to a GP is a form of control. So getting a script, getting a prescription. So asking people if they're on these restricted drugs gets a lot of false positives back. So it's not necessarily a goer for our online journey. And I think something that came out really strongly, quite interesting actually, and I think it harks back to what Sophie was talking about this morning about the kind of emotional, practical, clinical needs of patients, is that when we were doing user testing, patients at the end of getting told which pharmacy they needed to go to kind of have more of a discussion about their emergency prescription, they wanted to have some kind of reference number to validate that they'd been on 111 online. It's not needed, they don't need to take a reference number, but they want it to be able to validate that they've had a kind of conversation with the NHS already. And that was a surprise for all of us, we didn't see that one coming. So I think this is just reinforcing really, I'm just trying to get the point across that we need to test. Things surprise us, even though we've all worked in the NHS for years, things surprise us in the way that users interact with the service. So I just wanted to close on something positive. So we often get quite critical feedback, which is good because it makes stuff better and it challenges us. But this is a quote from a woman in her early 20s, and she came to use the service to find out about how to make herself feel better and whether she needed further medical advice. So she said, you don't feel like you're bothering anyone by using the service or like you're stopping someone else from getting treatment. There's no harm in checking online first before doing anything else. I know if it's nothing to worry about. So to me, this is great feedback. This really resonates and captures a really unique feature of accessing NHS services online. In a time when our patient population feel quite responsible for the use of the NHS, they understand how stretched services are, we're providing a simple way of them accessing the NHS. So, thank you very much for listening.